upgraded in any way. Odyssey was holding her right shoulder.
It was the kind of playoff finish that should live rent-free in every highlight reel. A one-possession thriller, a defensive read that felt telegraphed by destiny, and a bench that believed down to the final heartbeat. Yet within minutes, the storyline twisted. An injured Sophie Cunningham, a brace visible from the nosebleeds, faced down a security officer during a routine stoppage, and a celebration turned into a debate. The clip didn't need audio. The posture said everything. Fans didn't scroll past. They pressed replay. Again and again. That one freeze frame became the night's loudest sound. Not because of chaos, but because of the tension in the quiet. Sophie stood her ground, the officer motioned, and cameras did what cameras do when they smell a moment. They lingered. Suddenly, the afterglow of a hard-earned win was fighting for oxygen with a viral stare-down. And whether you came for the basketball or the drama, you felt the same tug. This is bigger than a whistle. This is about a line, who draws it, who crosses it, and who refuses to move.
Oh, Sophie, you're like that? Yeah, Chloe, she's like that. She's like that. She ain't moving. Oh, and then she puts her hands on the hip. Let me talk to your manager. Oh, shit. All right, Sophie, say no more. Say no more. Now, when your teammate gets injured, you're allowed to hop on the court and just to see if your teammate's doing good. So, injured, healthy. So, Chloe, Sophie, they had every right to be on the court over here.
Let's set the scene correctly. We're in the teeth of a playoff game, whistles slicing the noise, a foul under review. Sophie is near midcourt, not sprinting, not shouting, just there, present for her people the way veterans are in big moments. A security officer steps in and gestures to shift her back. She doesn't bark, doesn't lunge. She holds her square. The lens catches her expression transforming from polite confusion to that unmistakable, really, glare. It's less confrontation than conviction, and that's precisely why it travels. Virality often has nothing to do with volume. It's angles and implications. It's a question the viewer can answer without a caption. Who's right here? Who's overreaching? The frame is simple. The story isn't. And the simplicity is the hook. An injured player, a boundary line, and a request that felt more like a push once the moment froze on screen. Even if you missed the game, the clip dragged you into the conversation because it distilled sports into one primal image. Stand or step aside. Sophie stood.
Why in the F is that security guard all up on Sophie Cunningham? And look, I think there is a reason she got up in Sophie's face. And I don't think there was any need to sort of bow up to Sophie like that. I don't think, and to Sophie's credit, she did not back down at all.
What gets lost in the swirl is how good the basketball was. Kelsey Mitchell had that no-blinking look that makes a rim feel a foot wider. Aaliyah Boston anchored the floor like she bolted it down. And then came Lexi Hull, reading a passing lane like sheet music and stealing a possession that changed the series. That's the kind of play you build montages around. That's exactly what should have filled the feeds. Angles, slow-mos, and a dozen captions about instincts and courage. Instead, the algorithm took a hard turn. The morning after belonged to discourse threads and body language freeze frames. The team's grit became a bullet point in its own story, a supporting actor in a narrative hijacked by a 10-second stare. That's the frustration beneath the outrage. Celebration traded for speculation. The players earned a headline. The timeline delivered a debate. And if you care about the sport, you feel the gap like a missed box out.
So Odyssey Sims goes down hard. And Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, Chloe Bibby are waiting for her at half court. And the cop tries to get Sophie Cunningham to move. Sophie Cunningham was like, "You're not going to get me to move. I'm waiting for Odyssey." And you could see during the review, look at Sophie Cunningham clapping, not moving, waiting for her teammate. That's the fever for you.
Sophie Cunningham doesn't do beige. She's opinionated without apology, competitive without theatrics, and allergic to the kind of polished nothing speak that dies mid-sentence. That's part of her appeal. Fans don't latch onto stat lines alone. They latch onto spine. When the cameras find her, they know they'll capture a human reaction, not a press release in sneakers. That authenticity is rocket fuel on the internet, where unfiltered beats scripted 9 times out of 10. But there's a trade-off that comes with that energy. You attract lightning. To supporters, she's the rare player who says what everyone else is thinking and stands where everyone else is told not to. To detractors, she's the center of gravity in every dust-up, even when she's injured and stationary. Put that profile into a playoff setting and the dial goes to 11. It only takes one moment to confirm what people already want to believe, and the stare-down offered both camps a mirror. They looked. They saw what they were looking for. They hit share.
Folks, I didn't realize how much fun I would have watching these people break down. It's a meltdown. It's a meltdown on Twitter today. It's embarrassing to a certain extent. Not for me, for them. And then we got the Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever getting booed as they're getting off their court.
If this were a random Tuesday in January, the clip might have faded by midnight. But it landed in a season loaded with pressure points, injuries to stars, bench-driven banter that drew small fines, coaches venting about whistle consistency, and nightly arguments about where passion ends and punishment begins. Fans didn't arrive at this clip neutral. They brought a month's worth of grievances to a 10-second exchange. That preloaded emotion turned a molehill into a magnet. Context is everything. You can call the moment a procedural nudge, a crowd flow request at a tense time, or you can call it ham-fisted timing that stepped on a team's joy. Both can be true. What made it combustible wasn't decibels, it was sequencing. A razor-thin win, a bench beaming, and then a hand motion that read, to many, as not here, not now. For a community already fatigued by the season's gray areas, this wasn't just about Sophie. It was about the cumulative weight of almost and not quites that defined too many nights.
Check this out right here. Yeah, you see this guy right here? Right in this Gentero area? You see this guy? The ref asked this dude to step out here. All right? Now, Cheryl Swoops wants this referee fired. She wants him fired. Look, he felt something. He felt something was amiss. Of course, Cheryl Swoops is defending Dejanay Carrington.
Mute the audio and study the composition. Brace, logo, outstretched arm, locked chin. It's practically a storyboard for stubborn resolve. No crowd needs a mic to read that. Viewers filled in dialogue that might not have been spoken because the posture told them what they needed to know. One person pressing, one person holding. And because there was no chaos, the nuance had room to breathe. People could project their own experience, times they stood their ground, or times someone tried to move them off a moment. Online, the reaction swung wide. Some dismissed it as an overzealous mall cop vibe, others defended protocol during reviews, and a big middle cohort said the quiet part out loud. The optics were bad, the timing worse. The speed of the backlash wasn't about rage, it was about relatability. Everyone recognizes a preventable friction point. That's why the clip leaped platforms. It wasn't a scandal. It was a stress test the Knight failed to pass gracefully. And when sports mismanage grace, the internet turns into the judges' table.
I hate Sophie Cunningham because she's white, she's beautiful, all these things, right? Let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100, as they say. Sophie Cunningham is the most beautiful woman in this league. All right, she's the hottest woman in this league, and they're mad they can't be her.
The league wants what every league wants, growth curves that tilt up and to the right. That's achievable when casual viewers, who just found the product this year, get a clean, emotional on-ramp. The easiest on-ramp is joy. Put a defensive gem in their feed and they'll remember names. Put an awkward standoff on the screen, and they remember noise. New fans don't parse nuance. They log impressions. And impressions calcify quickly when the stakes are high and the minutes are short. This is where operational details matter as much as tactics. Camera blocking, floor access, review choreography, these are invisible arts until they aren't. When they wobble, they don't just dent a moment. They tax the brand. The casual viewer who arrived for the rush of a first playoff run won't write an op-ed. They'll just shrug and click elsewhere. That's why a 10-second clip can feel outsized. It's not about assigning blame. It's about refusing to donate momentum to preventable awkwardness.
I completely underestimated the feelings that I would have watching all of the Indiana Fever haters crash out. All of the Caitlin Clark haters, all of the Sophie Cunningham haters, anything to do with the Indiana Fever, the people that are just so quick to hop on Twitter and say something negative, to hop on media and say something negative, to take credit away. I underestimated how good it feels watching these people crumble.
Here's the part that actually impressed people who watched beyond the clip. Sophie declined the easy explosion. No dramatic soundbite, no performative outrage, no victory lap monologue. She kept it light, kept it human, and let the fanbase carry the conversation. That restraint turned the narrative inside out. Instead of player erupts, the headline became player stands, doesn't escalate. In a season hungry for villains and heroes, she managed to be neither, and that's exactly why her supporters saw her as both human and unshakable. Meanwhile, the team did what good teams do after emotional nights. They rolled forward. Short bench, tight rotations. A star guard playing with a green light and a conscience for big moments. A franchise anchor taking contact, absorbing it, and answering with poise. Even banged-up role players turned their minutes into leverage. That's the bigger context for the stare-down. It wasn't a sideshow. It was a flare above a group that refuses to blink. You don't always get to choose your myths. Sometimes they choose you because you didn't flinch.
Poor Sophie. She got the contraption on. She looks great in a ball cap. Let's just keep it real. We're keeping it 100 here, as the kids say. And here we go. Right here, she's at mid-court. And then Paula Blart, mall cop, what are you doing? Well, I mean, what you doing? She got a leg brace on, for crying out loud. You come out here trying to be Brody and trying to do something, knowing damn good and well. Look at this police officer sauntering up.
Strip away the algorithm and you're left with a simple lesson about perception. Security likely wanted a clear lane during a tense review. Sophie wanted to hold space with her teammates at a peak of adrenaline and relief. Those motives aren't enemies. They collided because timing, tone, and optics misaligned by inches, exactly the kind of gap that becomes a mile on camera. In live sports, inches get magnified. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. For all the noise, the most durable takeaway is this. The Fever's identity hardened. They became the team that won when the script said they shouldn't, then weathered a distraction without losing the plot. And Sophie, brace and all, became the symbol of that identity. Not by shouting, but by refusing to evaporate when asked. That image will resurface the next time the game slows, the next time a call hangs in the air, the next time a bench leans forward in unison. It's a reminder that presence, when earned, is its own kind of pressure.
It was one of those games. It was such a good W game. Like it was physical. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of great plays. But I just knew deep down in my gut that we were going to win. Like somehow we were going to win. And like, I think there was like a minute or like 40, I don't even know, like around 40 seconds left. And they left our all-star player wide open under the hoop for the go-ahead layup. And then Lexi Hall had a freaking badass steal and like it was over. But
if you were storyboarding the night for maximum reach, you'd end on Lexi Hall's hands tilting the game, Kelsey's fearless rhythm, and Boston's heartbeat control. You'd splash those 3 beats everywhere and ride the wave into the next round. What happened instead is a case study in brand leakage. The attention that should have fed belief detoured into debate. Attention still counts, but belief converts. The fix isn't complicated. It's discipline around endgame optics and ceremony, clarity about who stands where during reviews, and a commitment to amplifying the plays that carry your season forward. Do that, and clips like Sophie's don't vanish. They contextualize. The story becomes team with an edge and a voice, rather than league fumbling its own moment. Fans can hold two thoughts at once. Give them the highlight first. Let the discourse live in the replies, not the headline. That's how you turn sparks into warmth instead of wildfire. It's not about sanitizing personality. It's about staging joy so it can breathe.
Kathy Engelbert, we need an investigation. Call the FBI. Call the local police department. We need an investigation as to who was raining down those boos on the Indiana Fever. They're all racist. Or, hear me out here, or this is sports and that's expected. Notice how the Indiana Fever players, oh, they didn't cry. Oh my God. Notice how they didn't do that.
Sports run on myths. Some teams inherit them, others earn them on the fly. The Fever are building theirs in real time. Patched together lineups, star minutes replaced by stubborn belief, role players playing like regulars, regulars playing like stars. It's a brand of basketball that makes late-game possession feel like shared oxygen. And it's the reason nights like this linger past dawn. You don't have to score to matter. You have to matter to score. That's the ethos they wear. Sophie's stare-down slots neatly into that story without swallowing it. It reads as a coda to the steel, a footnote to composure, a flair for the team's personality. That's the version that deserves to travel, not a scandal, a signature. If you're new to this team, remember that feeling. If you've been here all year, you already do. The sound you're hearing isn't outrage, it's resolve hardening. And if the bracket gives them more nights like this, they'll keep teaching the same lesson. Pressure test character, and this roster studies.
The league is so mad that we won because we're literally not supposed to be here at all. And that just like kind of fuels our fire even more. But it was just like so fun. It was one of those games that, first of all, I was sweating my ass off because I was so nervous and like, I don't really get anxious about stuff. I was so anxious. Like I could not sit still. I was legit. I felt like I played with how much I was sweating. And
So what do you see when you watch that clip? A simple procedural nudge that landed wrong in a hot moment? Or a player who drew a line and chose not to move? Maybe it's a bit of both. A team earned a win, a camera found a symbol, and the internet did what it always does, turn nuance into fuel. The only certainty is this. The Fever kept their footing when the floor wanted to tilt, and the face of that steadiness, brace and all, became part of their identity. Before you dip, do me a favor that genuinely helps this small channel grow. If you learned something, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Tap, like, if you want this video to reach more women's basketball fans. Drop a comment with your take on the stare down and how it changes your view of the season. Did the clip expose a bigger issue, or did it just magnify a preventable misread? And if you want more than the algorithm will ever deliver, join our free newsletter and download the free guide at basketplay.online. It's a quick sign-up, and you'll get exclusive women's basketball updates, tactical insights, and that free guide to help you track trends, player usage, and late-game patterns like a pro. Subscribing and grabbing the guide are the easiest technical ways to support the channel while getting smarter about the game. See you in the comments and on the next possession.